My sister set me up. She made me look guilty for buying an expensive bag that she wanted, and then she tried to take it for herself. Growing up, my sister Lauren and I were the best of friends, or at least that's how it looked from the outside. I'm Allison, 31, and Lauren is 3 years younger. We've always been close, but looking back now, I can see that our relationship was layered with an unspoken rivalry. We never talked about it, but it was there, simmering under the surface of family dinners and birthday parties. Our family had this long-standing tradition. Birthdays were a big deal. We didn't just do cake and candles. We went all out with expensive, thoughtful gifts. Mom and Dad believed birthdays were a way to show how much you cared, and every year, the pressure to outdo ourselves grew. At first, it was fun. Then, it became something else. Lauren never seemed to take it seriously. While everyone else in the family would agonize over what to buy, spending weeks planning the perfect gift, Lauren always found a way to cut corners. It wasn't that she didn't have the money, she did. She just didn't care. Take my 27th birthday, for example. I'd saved for months to buy her a necklace she'd been eyeing at a boutique downtown for her birthday. When mine rolled around a few months later, she handed me a gift card. Not even a cute one, just a $25 card from some random grocery store. I smiled and thanked her, of course, but inside, I was fuming. Mom raised an eyebrow but didn't say anything. Dad just laughed it off, saying, "That's Lauren for you." Over the years, this became a pattern. One birthday after another, she'd give me things that were so thoughtless they almost felt insulting. One year, it was a mug with a tacky slogan. Another year, a bottle of wine so cheap that the cork disintegrated when I tried to open it. I never said anything. What could I say? But it hurt. It felt like she wasn't just skimping on gifts but skimping on me. Like I wasn't worth the effort. Last year, I decided enough was enough. My 31st birthday was approaching, and I'd resolved not to let Lauren's thoughtlessness ruin it. My husband, Ethan, had planned a beautiful dinner party at our house. It wasn't anything over the top, just close friends and family, good food, and some wine. I was genuinely excited. Lauren showed up late, of course. She swept in with her typical chaotic energy, a brightly wrapped gift bag in hand. I felt a pang of hope. Maybe this year would be different. Maybe she'd finally decided to take it seriously. When I opened the bag, though, my heart sank. Inside was a pair of socks. Not even nice socks. Cheap, novelty socks with pineapples on them. Everyone around the table laughed awkwardly, unsure of what to say. I forced a smile and muttered, "Thanks, Lauren," before quickly moving on to the next gift. After the party, Ethan found me in the kitchen, wiping down the counters. He could tell I was upset. "You've got to talk to her," he said. "This isn't about the socks. It's about the fact that she keeps treating you like this." I nodded but didn't say anything. What was the point? Lauren would never change. She'd always been this way. Self-centered, dismissive, and completely oblivious to how her actions affected others. The day after my birthday, Lauren called me. "Hey, Al," she said, her voice unusually chipper. "Did you like the socks?" I couldn't hold it in anymore. "Lauren, are you serious? Socks? That's what you thought I'd want for my birthday?" There was a long pause. "What's the big deal?" she said finally. "They're cute. It's not about the socks," I snapped. "It's about the fact that you don't put any thought into these things. It's like you don't even care." "Are you kidding me?" she shot back. "I showed up, didn't I? I brought a gift. You should be grateful." Grateful? I could feel my voice rising. "Do you even hear yourself? This isn't just about birthdays, Lauren. You've always been like this, selfish, careless, and completely wrapped up in your own world." Her tone turned icy. "You know what, Allison? Maybe the problem isn't me. Maybe the problem is you. You've always been jealous of me, always trying to prove you're better. This whole birthday thing? It's just another way for you to feel superior." I was stunned. Jealous of her? What on earth was she talking about? But before I could respond, she hung up. For the next few weeks, we didn't speak. Mom tried to mediate, but it only made things worse. "Lauren says you were rude to her," she said one day over lunch. "She feels like you're always picking on her." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Picking on her? Mom, all I've ever done is try to include her, to make her feel special. She's the one who doesn't care. Mom sighed. I know she can be thoughtless, but she's your sister. You need to find a way to move past this. I wanted to scream. Why was it always my job to fix things? Why couldn't Lauren take responsibility for once? A month later, I got a call from an old friend, Clara. She'd grown up with us and had stayed in touch with Lauren more than I had. Hey, Allison, she said hesitantly. I don't know if I should be telling you this, but I thought you should know. Lauren's been telling people some really weird stuff about you. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? She's been saying you're obsessed with her, that you're always trying to one-up her. She even said you've been copying her style and trying to steal her friends. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Why would she say that? I don't know, Clara admitted. But it's not true, right? Of course not, I said, my voice shaking. Clara, I don't even know what to say. This is insane. After we hung up, I sat in silence, replaying the conversation in my head. Why would Lauren do this? What did she have to gain? That night, I confronted Ethan. Am I crazy? I asked him. Have I been blind to something? Why would Lauren say those things? He took my hands in his. Allison, you're not crazy. Lauren's got issues. She always has. Maybe this is her way of dealing with her insecurities. Insecurities about what? I asked bitterly. She's the one who's always acted like she's better than me. Ethan shrugged. Maybe that's the point. Maybe she's trying so hard to seem perfect because she doesn't feel that way inside. It was a lot to process. For years, I'd thought of Lauren as careless and thoughtless, but now I wondered if there was something deeper at play, something darker. After months of working overtime, juggling late-night meetings with early morning deadlines, I finally finished the project that had consumed my life for the past year. It was a high-stakes contract for a client who was notoriously difficult to please, but I managed to pull it off. When my boss called me into his office and handed me the performance bonus check for $25,000, I was stunned. I'd never received such a reward before. I felt a mixture of pride and exhaustion. Finally, all my hard work had paid off. Ethan was thrilled when I told him the news. You deserve this, Al, he said, hugging me tightly. You should celebrate. Do something nice for yourself. At first, I brushed off the idea. I wasn't the type to splurge, even when I had the money. But the more I thought about it, the more it seemed like the perfect way to mark the occasion. I'd been eyeing this designer handbag for months, a sleek, timeless piece that I knew I'd never regret buying. It was expensive, ridiculously so, but it was something I truly wanted. Something just for me. The next weekend, I went to the boutique downtown. Walking in, I felt a little out of place. The store was immaculate, with polished floors and glass cases displaying bags like museum artifacts. A salesperson approached me with a warm smile. Can I help you find something today? Yes, I said, trying to sound confident. I'd like to see the Delacroix tote in black. Her eyes lit up. Excellent choice. It's one of our most popular pieces. Let me grab it for you. When she brought the bag out, it was even more beautiful than I'd remembered. The leather was buttery soft, and the craftsmanship was flawless. I ran my fingers over the stitching, marveling at the attention to detail. For a moment, I hesitated, thinking about the price tag. But then I reminded myself, I earned this. I deserved this. The next day, I showed Ethan the bag. He whistled, clearly impressed. That's a serious upgrade from your old tote. I laughed. It's a once-in-a-lifetime purchase. I'm not going to make a habit of this. What I didn't anticipate was how quickly Lauren would find out. It wasn't like I flaunted it. I only carried it to work and on special occasions. But somehow, she always had a way of noticing the things I wished she wouldn't. It started with a phone call. So, I hear you've been treating yourself, Lauren said, her tone sharp. I paused, already sensing where this was headed. What are you talking about? Oh, just the little bag you've been parading around town. The one I've been wanting for years but couldn't justify buying. Funny how you suddenly decided to get it. I felt my chest tighten. Lauren, it's not like that. I bought it because I wanted to celebrate my bonus, not because of you. She laughed bitterly. Oh, please. You knew exactly what you were doing. You've been waiting for an opportunity to rub it in my face. Rub it in your face? I repeated, stunned. Lauren, are you serious? I didn't even know you wanted this bag. Don't play dumb, she snapped. You've always been competitive, Allison. Always trying to outdo me. I was too stunned to respond. She hung up before I could defend myself. Over the next week, the fallout was immediate. Lauren started calling our parents, telling them I'd gone out of my way to hurt her. She said I was obsessed with making her look bad and accused me of using my bonus as a weapon. Mom called me in tears, begging me to make things right. Allison, she's your sister, Mom said, her voice trembling. She feels betrayed. Betrayed? Mom, this has nothing to do with her. I bought the bag because I wanted it, not because of some imaginary competition. But couldn't you have chosen something else? You knew she's been talking about that bag for ages. No, Mom, I said firmly. I didn't know. And even if I did, why does that mean I can't have it? Why is it always about Lauren? Mom sighed heavily, clearly torn. I just hate seeing you two like this. What made it worse was that Lauren started turning our mutual friends against me. Clara, who had been my confidant for years, suddenly stopped replying to my messages. When I finally got her on the phone, she sounded distant. I don't want to get in the middle of this, she said. In the middle of what? I asked. Clara, you know me. You know I'd never do something like this on purpose. I thought I did, she said quietly. But Lauren says you've been acting out of spite, and I don't know what to believe. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Lauren was poisoning everyone around me, twisting the narrative until I looked like the villain. Even Ethan, as supportive as he was, started to feel the strain. Maybe you should talk to her, he suggested one night. Not to apologize, but just to clear the air. And say what? I asked bitterly. That I'm sorry for existing? That I'm sorry for wanting nice things? Al, he said gently, I know she's being unreasonable, but this isn't going to go away unless you address it. I reluctantly agreed. I invited Lauren over for coffee, hoping we could have a calm, rational conversation. She arrived late, as usual, and immediately launched into her grievances. You knew I wanted that bag, she began, glaring at me across the table. You bought it to hurt me. Lauren, I said, struggling to keep my voice steady, this has nothing to do with you. I didn't even know you wanted the bag until you called me. Oh, come on, she said, rolling her eyes. You've always had a way of making things about you. You just can't stand to see me happy. That was it. I couldn't hold back anymore. You know what, Lauren? I'm done. I've spent my whole life tiptoeing around your feelings, trying to make you feel included, and all I get in return is this. Accusations and drama? I'm tired of it. She looked stunned, as if she couldn't believe I'd finally stood up to her. But then her expression hardened. Fine, she said coldly. If that's how you feel, maybe we're better off without each other. She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. In the weeks that followed, things only got worse. Lauren blocked me on social media and refused to come to family gatherings if she knew I'd be there. Mom kept trying to mediate, but it was no use. The damage was done. One night, Ethan and I were having dinner when he looked up from his plate and said, You know, maybe this is for the best. What do you mean? I asked. She's been toxic for years, Al. Maybe this is the break you need. I wanted to believe him, but a part of me still felt the weight of losing her. No matter how difficult she was still my sister. And despite everything, I missed her. When the situation with Lauren and the handbag first escalated, I thought it might just blow over with time. She had always been dramatic, prone to overreacting and creating a scene, but eventually, things would simmer down. This time was different. It wasn't just her anger or the snide comments. She had pulled my parents into the middle of it, weaponizing them in a way that was both hurtful and unexpected. It started with a phone call from my mom. Allison, sweetheart, she began. Her voice calm in that way it always was when she was about to ask something unreasonable. Can we talk about this handbag situation with Lauren? I sighed, already exhausted by the topic. Mom, there's nothing to talk about. I bought a bag for myself. That's it. I know, honey, but Lauren is really upset, she said. She feels like it was a personal jab at her. Of course she does, I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. Everything is about Lauren. There was a pause. Allison, I'm just asking you to try to see things from her perspective. What perspective, Mom? She's mad because I bought something I liked with my own money. How is that something I need to justify? She's your sister, Mom said, her tone soft but insistent. And she's hurting. Maybe if you gave her the bag. I almost dropped the phone. You can't be serious. You want me to give her my bag? The one I bought with my bonus? Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds? It's just a gesture, Mom said. To keep the peace. To keep the peace? I repeated, incredulous. Mom, for years, I've gone out of my way to be thoughtful and generous with Lauren, and what do I get in return? Socks. Cheap mugs. Gift cards she probably didn't even pay for. And now you want me to hand over something I actually worked for just to make her feel better. Mom sighed again, but this time it was heavier, like she was growing impatient. Allison, it's not about the gifts. It's about your relationship with your sister. Don't you think that's worth more than a handbag? I was speechless. My relationship with Lauren had always been one-sided. Me giving, her taking. And now, once again, I was expected to be the one to compromise, to sacrifice. A few days later, I got another call, this time from my dad. I wasn't surprised. Mom had probably put him up to it. Hey, kiddo, he said, his tone casual. How's work? It's fine, I said cautiously, waiting for the real reason he'd called. So, I hear there's some drama with your sister, he said. I groaned. Dad, please don't tell me you're on her side too. I'm not taking sides, he said quickly, but I do think this whole thing has gotten a little out of hand. Your mom's worried. Maybe if you just talk to Lauren. I tried talking to her, Dad. I interrupted. She accused me of trying to hurt her on purpose. There's no reasoning with her. Look, I get it, he said. Lauren can be difficult. But she's family, Allison. And family is important. Family is a two-way street. I shot back. And Lauren has been selfish and dismissive for years. Do you know how much money I've spent on her birthdays? $500, sometimes $700. And what does she give me? Dollar store junk. And I've never said a word. I've never called her out. But now, because I finally did something for myself, I'm the bad guy? Dad didn't have a response to that. I just don't want this to tear the family apart, he said finally. Then maybe you should talk to Lauren about how she treats people, I said before hanging up. The next time I saw my parents in person, it was at a Sunday dinner at their house. Lauren was, of course, conspicuously absent, which only added to the tension. Mom kept looking at me like she wanted to say something, but she didn't. Dad focused on the game playing on the TV in the background. Eventually, though, Mom couldn't hold it in any longer. Allison, she said as we were clearing the table, I know you're upset with Lauren, but I really think you should reach out to her. I set the stack of plates down on the counter with more force than I intended. Why is it always me, Mom? Why am I the one who has to fix things? Why doesn't Lauren ever have to take responsibility? It's not about blame, Mom said carefully. It's about healing. No, it's about enabling, I said, my frustration boiling over. You've let her get away with being selfish and manipulative for years, and now you expect me to reward that behavior by giving her what she wants? I'm done, Mom. I'm done being the bigger person. That night, I called my friend Rachel to vent. Rachel and I had known each other since college, and she'd seen firsthand how toxic my relationship with Lauren could be. She actually wants you to give Lauren the bag? Rachel asked, incredulous. That's insane. I know, I said. But they're acting like I'm the unreasonable one. Rachel sighed. You know what this is, right? Your parents have spent so long catering to Lauren's drama that they don't know how to handle it when you stand up for yourself. They're scared of upsetting her, so they're putting it on you. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. She was right. My parents had always tiptoed around Lauren, afraid of her temper tantrums and her ability to turn even the smallest slight into a full-blown crisis. And now, they were expecting me to do the same. The final straw came a week later when I found out that Lauren had been telling everyone in our extended family her twisted version of events. She painted herself as the victim, claiming that I had deliberately flaunted my bonus and the bag to make her feel inadequate. Cousins I hadn't spoken to in months were calling me to ask what was going on. One night, I got a call from my Aunt Nancy, who had always been one of the few people in the family who seemed to see Lauren for who she really was. "Allison," she said, "I've heard the stories Lauren's been spreading, and I just want you to know I don't believe a word of it." "Thank you," I said, relief flooding through me. "It's been exhausting trying to defend myself." "I'm not surprised," Nancy said. "Lauren's always had a knack for stirring up drama, but don't let her drag you down. You don't owe her anything." For the first time in weeks, I felt validated. Someone in my family actually understood what I was going through. It gave me the strength to stand my ground. When Lauren finally called me, probably expecting an apology, I was ready. "Allison," she began. Her tone as icy as ever. "I think it's time we talked." "I agree," I said, my voice steady. "But let me be clear. I'm not apologizing for buying that bag. And I'm certainly not giving it to you." Her silence was deafening. Finally, she said, "Well, if that's how you feel, maybe we're done." "Maybe we are," I said. For the first time in my life, I felt free. The first time I heard about Lauren's crowdfunding campaign, it felt so absurd I almost thought it was a joke. Rachel was the one who told me about it. She called me one evening, laughing so hard she could barely get the words out. "You're not going to believe this," she said. "Lauren started a GoFundMe." I frowned, confused. "What for? Did something happen?" "No," Rachel said, her laughter subsiding into disbelief. "It's for the bag." I froze. "What bag?" "Your bag, Allison." She called the campaign "Help Make a Dream Come True," and she's asking people to donate so she can buy the same designer handbag. I didn't know whether to laugh or scream. "You're kidding." "I'm not," Rachel said. She even wrote this ridiculous description about how she's always dreamed of owning the bag but can't afford it because she prioritizes helping others. It's so over the top. My stomach churned. This wasn't just petty. It was public. She had taken our private family conflict and turned it into a spectacle for strangers on the internet. "How much has she raised?" "Last time I checked, it was about $200, Rachel said. "But Allison, this is next-level crazy. What is she thinking?" I didn't have an answer. The whole situation felt surreal. I opened my laptop and typed the campaign's title into the search bar. Sure enough, there it was. Lauren's smiling face next to a dramatic caption about her lifelong dream. The description was as exaggerated as Rachel had said. Lauren claimed that she had always put others first and never treated herself, and now she was asking for help to make her one true dream a reality. The comments section was a mix of supportive messages and sarcastic jabs. Some people seemed genuinely sympathetic, while others mocked her for trying to crowdfund a luxury item. My blood boiled as I scrolled through the page. This wasn't just about the bag anymore. It was about Lauren's constant need to paint herself as a victim while making me look like the villain. Over the next few weeks, the campaign gained some traction, but not nearly enough to reach her goal. By the end of the month, she had raised $800, far short of the $4,000 she needed. I assumed she would quietly shut it down and move on, but Lauren had other plans. One afternoon, I got a call from my cousin Emily, who lived out of state. We weren't particularly close, so I was surprised to hear from her. "Hey, Allison," she said hesitantly. "I wanted to ask you about something. Did you and Lauren have some kind of fight?" I sighed. "Why?" "She called me last week asking for a donation to her GoFundMe," Emily said. "She said you bought the bag to spite her, and now she's trying to get one for herself." I closed my eyes, trying to contain my frustration. "Of course she did." Emily sounded uncomfortable. I didn't know what to say. "I mean, it's a little weird, right? Crowdfunding for a designer bag?" "It's beyond weird," I said. "And for the record, I didn't buy the bag to spite her. This whole thing is just her way of making me look bad." Emily was quiet for a moment. "I didn't donate, if that makes you feel any better." "It does," I said. "Thanks, Emily." The next escalation came a few weeks later. Lauren showed up at a family barbecue carrying what looked like my bag. My heart sank when I saw it, but as I got closer, I realized it was a knockoff. The leather was too shiny, the stitching uneven, and the logo slightly off-center. She wore it proudly, as if daring me to say something. "Nice bag," I said as she approached me. She smirked. "Thanks. I figured if I couldn't have the real thing, this would do for now." Her tone was casual, but there was an edge to it. I could tell she wanted me to react, to say something that would justify her victim narrative. I refused to give her the satisfaction. "Looks great," I said, forcing a smile. Lauren carried that knockoff bag everywhere for the next few months. She posted pictures on social media, tagging the brand as if it were the real thing. Mutual friends started commenting on how cute her bag was, and she soaked up the attention. It was infuriating, but I tried to rise above it. Then, out of nowhere, she managed to raise the rest of the money for the original bag. I don't know if it was through more crowdfunding, asking for loans, or dipping into savings. But one day she posted a triumphant photo holding the genuine article. "Dreams really do come true," her caption read, accompanied by a string of heart emojis. Rachel called me the minute she saw it. "Did you see Lauren's post?" "Of course I did," I said, staring at my phone. "She's acting like she cured cancer." "I can't believe she actually got the money," Rachel said. "It's like she's obsessed." "She is," I said, my voice tight. "But what's worse is that she's acting like nothing ever happened." Rachel was right. Lauren never acknowledged the ridiculous campaign, the knockoff bag, or the fact that she had dragged our entire family into her drama. At the next family gathering, she strolled in with her new bag as if everything were perfectly normal. She didn't mention the conflict, didn't apologize, didn't even glance in my direction. It was infuriating, but also strangely liberating. Lauren had spent months turning our conflict into a public spectacle, but now that she had what she wanted, she didn't seem to care anymore. It was as if I didn't exist. For the first time, I realized that maybe that was a good thing. I didn't need her approval or validation. I didn't need to prove anything to her or anyone else. Lauren could keep her bag and her drama. I had my own life to live, and I was determined not to let her take up any more space in it.